All right, let's go. Detroit Lions at the San Francisco 49ers. This one's Monday Night Football this week, Sam. Lions favored by 3.5 here. They're 13-2. Niners are 6-9. I know we expected this to be a much more competitive, better looking game when we started the season, but Lions still have that number one seed to play for. And I'll tell you what we got to play for here on Check the Mic is all of you. 33% of you subscribing so far. We got a little subscribe button right there. Just click it. Just click the subscribe button. This worked the other day. A bunch of you were like, hey, I'm not subscribed. I want to be. So just click the button right now. We appreciate everybody that has joined us this week and will continue to join going forward with Check the Mic. So, yeah, Lions favored by 3.5 here. They got to win this game and then, again, go to play the Vikings in week 18 to solidify the number one overall seed.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, they've been so good this season, and they're still not locked in for anything yet, including the division. It's bizarre. Like they've been so good this year. My concern, obviously, for Detroit is just how banged up that defense is, and are they in danger of being one of those teams that is just no longer the team that they were supposed to be, or that they were for most of the season, because they've just been chipped away at that defense from an injury standpoint. Didn't really matter last week against Chicago because the Bears didn't have enough to execute that comeback. And maybe it won't matter against the 49ers because they're still banged up and not particularly good this year. But it might matter in the postseason or against a team like the Vikings. So, Detroit's offense is still phenomenal. Their offensive line, even without David Montgomery, Jameer Gibbs in the backfield is dynamic, explosive, dangerous. Jameson Williams, deep play threat, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, the offense is great. The question is the defense. Can they just do enough to keep this team competitive so that the offense, when it puts up 30 points, is good enough to win?
Yeah, I mean, that's that, getting healthy down the stretch here for Detroit, seeing what they can get back, what they're going to roll into the playoffs with. I think that's where the number one seed, is as important. It's important for everybody, but having that extra week of rest is going to be massive, I think, for Detroit, making sure that they're good to go from a playoff perspective. I also, I don't want to say the throw the records out the window deal. San Francisco could be dangerous in any given week. They just lost to Miami last week, and Miami kind of ran away with it at the end, but there were points where George Kittle looked as good as ever. Deebo Samuel, kind of a throwback game. They needed him out of the backfield. They're down to RB5 in the backfield in San Francisco. So Deebo's back in the backfield, taking some carries, looking good after the catch. I mean, they're still dangerous in any given week. And look, I think every game is important for Brock Purdy at this point, even if there's nothing on the line, just going out there and showing that he's not going to completely collapse with missing pieces around him. So I think San Francisco, it'll be interesting to see how hard they play right now. And the stat that I've highlighted throughout Kyle Shanahan's tenure is finally out the window now. He is, for the first time ever, not made the NFC Championship in a year where he's had a starting quarterback, for the majority of the time. Yeah. Every other time that Jimmy Garoppolo got through the season, his handpicked starter, the other times that Brock Purdy got through the season as his starter, and then the one time that Garoppolo got hurt and Purdy took over, they made it to the NFC Championship. An incredible run essentially ended this year by the Niners. Now, it ended with other injuries to other key players or whatever, but that's been Kyle Shanahan, who took over in 2017 for the Niners. When he's had his starting quarterback, it's been NFC Championship as a floor. And this is the worst season, obviously, that they've had, given the fact that they've still had their starting quarterback for the majority of the year.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big difference. Like, it's weird because he has had bad seasons before for the 49ers. It's just that they've come with quarterback injuries that have taken his starter out for a lot of the season. You're like, well, yeah, but look, today's NFL, if you don't have your starting quarterback, 4 wins, 6 wins, that's kind of expected, right? Well, now you did have your starting quarterback for the whole one. He's on the cusp of a giant contract, and you still may only win 6 games for the entire season. Not a good year for San Francisco, obviously. I think you're right. They are definitely still dangerous. It's interesting, you talk once these teams are eliminated, right? How do they respond to that? Do they actually still play hard? Are they checked out? Are they mentally on the beach already? As soon as the 49ers were officially eliminated, I think they basically shut down Trent Williams and said, yeah, he's done now for the year. Maybe they were trying to get him back, well, as long as they were still theoretically able to make the postseason. As soon as that was no longer a reality, it's like, yeah, Trent's not coming back. So, I mean, that's the smart thing to do. Like, there's no point trying to rush him back for a meaningless game late in the year. But is that the kind of thing that signals, hey, guys, the season's done. Let's pack it up here. You know, we got to – and you're going to get that kind of performance from the 49ers where they visibly look like a team that's checked out because they're done? Maybe. And particularly against a team like Detroit, if there's anything of that in the air, the Lions offense will rack up a ton of points, and the defense at least is well coached, if not able to hang in terms of personnel. So I think that's something to watch for this team. Like, do the 49ers look visibly checked out in this game, or are they going to be dangerous? Are they going to put up some points in some vintage sort of Shanahan offense?
You know me, Sam, I tend to downplay the touchy-feely aspect of football, and some of that gets elevated. I do wonder, though, Dan Campbell's Lions, like, they're going to be a fascinating case study. I think everybody looking for a new head coach is going to be thinking about the Dan Campbell experience, right? A guy that wasn't an offensive guru, that's, you know, motivational guy, leader of men type of figurehead, right?
Yeah.
In his Lions, when they got eliminated from the playoffs a couple years ago, played as hard as they could to beat the Packers on Sunday Night Football and knock the Packers out of the playoffs. And it, you know, you could go back and say that helped propel the Lions, that attitude, that style of play, to where they are right now. Might be interesting when you look at Shanahan and some of these other coaches that are eliminated down the stretch here. At least, you know, maybe the NFL is going to look at that a little bit more. The other aspect of this is if Minnesota does lose, remember, this is Monday Night Football. So if Minnesota does lose on Sunday to the Packers, which is very possible, this game does clinch Detroit the number 1 seed. And
right.
Then they're set up to potentially rest in week 18 and rest. So they might have 2 full weeks of rest. They could earn it with the win here against San Francisco if the Packers beat the Vikings. So that's what's on the line here. Also, of course, a rematch of last year's NFC Championship when the Lions were up, was it 24-7 before blowing that lead. And I think they have the ability to do that again, get up early. I think that's part of their strategy as far as the defense goes. Not that that's a strategy. Hey, you know, win early. But they've got the trick plays, the aggressiveness, the various playmakers to attack early and often, and I think they'll have some success against this Niners defense. Last thing to keep an eye on, too, is Jameer Gibbs, his workload, over 20 carries last week. And so if they can rest for a couple weeks, maybe it doesn't matter as much, but do you want to beat up a Jameer Gibbs with 20-plus carries every week heading into the playoffs? I don't know if you want that. He's still going to be at his best, I think. You know, not sporadically, but allowing him to create those big plays. It's going to be interesting seeing his workload as well.
Yeah, and Detroit, I mean, they are getting some players back from injury, so them being able to rest players for an extra week and 2 weeks with the bye week would be huge for them if they're able to wrap this up.
All right, man. Lions by 3.5 here. Monday Night Football in San Francisco. Where are you going with this one?
I believe in the Lions. I think they're going to have a good performance. They're going to try and do everything they can to wrap this up. And yeah, I think they'll win and cover.
All right, Harry agrees. We're all going with the Lions to cover the 3.5 Monday Night Football.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.